Good morning, Shalom, Sister Kate here. So this video is a reply to my one on This is the Future. And some of the commenters have brought up some really interesting points that I wanted to address. Because I made the supposition that this wind power is part of our future. Like, if it works well and everything, more municipalities may be putting them up in order to bolster, their own electricity production. A really good point and people are bringing up is the solar farms that are going up. And on the surface, it sounds like a great idea. Like if a small town decides to put up a solar farm and now they're creating their electricity and it's not dependent on a bigger power grid and everything, that would be great. But another comment was about how Amazon owned the solar farms and wind, big bladed things in his particular area. And so the farmers who donated the land or sold their land or allowed their land to be used for these fans thought it was going to benefit their local, like their county or something. And now they're suing because they found out Amazon bought these things and all this power and electricity generation and then money coming from people paying for it is going to Amazon. And I thought, wow, that's a really good point, because the whole thought behind solar is to get you independent, that you generate electricity, or at least in my mind, that you generate electricity for yourself without having to be dependent on anyone else. And yet there are always people who figure out how to make money off of supplying a resource or a service that is tied to just your basic living. For example, Vanderbilt. It's a name that is kind of from 2 centuries ago, so some of you modern folks may not have ever heard of the Vanderbilts, but the original Vanderbilt, his family were Dutch farmers up in New York, but he figured out people needed to get in and out of New York. He could see from where he lived across the river, I believe he was probably in New Jersey, from the city, that stuff was going into the city and out, and he built his empire. And he was like the first millionaire, billionaire of his time on travel. He got a ship, and he started ferrying people back and forth, and then he started ferrying goods, and then he started into the coaches, traveling on the roads and improving them, and then steamships and so forth and so on. And he built himself an empire from travel. And that is still one way that people make money, because J.B. Hunt is a trucking company. It's not, technologically advanced, but people need goods shipped, trucked, and so they have built it into an empire. They're one of the 3 largest businesses in our area. So let's take our vision and look at Google and Amazon. I was talking to Pastor Joe about Google and Amazon recently because YouTube is run by Google, and then people like us who make videos, or lots of other people, now have a platform, a national or international platform for our views and our opinions to be out to everyone. And if you had to do that on your own, 1, you probably wouldn't have thought of how to make that happen, and 2, it costs a lot of money for the initial startup for something like that. But YouTube and Google have done it. And also, Amazon now is like the biggest real retailer. We've got Walmart stores and things like Nordstrom and Kohl's and all that are nationwide stores, and you drive to them in your local area. But Amazon has upped all of that because you don't have to leave your house to shop. And then the next step for things, which I'm already seeing and discussing, are these drones delivering stuff. There are pizza businesses delivering pizza by drone. So on this latest trip that I did, I went into a car part store and I bought a car part, and I joked with the guy. I said, so how long is it going to be before you all are delivering parts by drone? And he said, well, it's not even really funny, but probably within the next few years. And I had thought about that. I thought, that's going to generate an entirely new culture if people really do start using drones, and Amazon continues to, be the biggest retailer of people not even driving that much anymore, roads being a little bit more obsolete, and the sky suddenly becoming something that's going to be a commodity and people are going to want a piece of and people are going to register for and buy, you know, I don't even know how to phrase it, but like I buy the 90 to 100 foot in the air space above my city, and now if anyone wants to go, you know, a drone to deliver at that altitude, they have to pay me to fly it through there. But the FAA already has the federal rights to our skies, you know, and controls airports and planes and everything like that. So how is this commercial venture going to affect what the FAA does, and how are they going to make it safe between power lines and airplanes and helicopters and everything else for these drones to be zipping around in the sky? I mean, this is a fascinating thing, and I think it's a real thing, because I don't think the car parts guy would have said it if it weren't a possibility. So Amazon is going to be a huge, even bigger business than it is now. And how is it going to shape our culture? And then and Google, because of the internet and stuff, Google is too. But they don't just, you know, they aren't just in the sales part with people shopping and buying stuff. They are now doing things, apparently, like buying solar farms and wind generation, and they're going to have control over how that affects the people that live in the area where they're supplying the power. That's going to change that culture. Google's going to change things because they're one of the big companies that's working on robots. And we laugh because, you know, people my age, the Jetsons was a cartoon and it was so futuristic, but a lot of the things that were in the Jetson cartoons are now realities, like food kiosks that are, you know, self-generated. You just go spend your dollar and you can have a sandwich or hot soup or whatever. And travel, in most futuristic movies, travel is in the air. The movie, oh, what was it called? Bruce Willis was in it. Something 5, I think. I don't remember right off. Fifth Element, maybe. The cars are all, they look kind of like cars, but they're all driving in the air. And, you know, you have traffic laws and stopping and going down to different levels and everything. Well, that may become a reality with this drone situation. And how far a robot's going to go. They've got robot dogs and they've got robot bomb detectors, and you pick up the bomb and take it somewhere with this robot, and then maybe the robot blows up. They used a robot to assassinate a terrorist here in the United States. I forget where he was. I think he was in Texas maybe. But they sent a bomb into where he was because he was sniping, and cops were putting themselves in danger to try to get close to him. So they sent this robot in, and it exploded and killed him. This is part of our future too. And so I was just sitting and thinking about all this stuff, and I'd really like to hear what you all think too. Where is the future going? I see Amazon and Google. I see alternative energy and drones as part of it, and also cell phones. I made a video about what is the future of cell phones, and I don't even know. Are we going to have cell phones in, you know, under our skin? Are we going to have like the Bluetooth thing, and now that's the entire cell phone and it's just voice activated? I don't know, but it's fascinating, and I hope this spurs some thought on your part, and I'd love to hear comments. All right, bless you, shalom.